She stood in the rain, clutching a torn garbage bag. They mocked her from their glass tower. They didn't know she owned the mortgage company. They didn't know revenge was already signed in ink. This is the story of Caroline Westfield, and how one night changed everything. Caroline Westfield was once untouchable. CEO of Meridian Capital. Worth $400 million. She built empires while others built excuses. Her name opened doors. Her signature moved markets. She had everything the world told her to want. But 6 months ago, her business partner framed her for embezzlement. The courts froze her accounts. The media destroyed her name. Federal agents raided her penthouse at dawn. Cameras caught everything. Her face on every screen. Guilty until proven innocent. She lost everything in 48 hours. Her penthouse seized. Her reputation shattered. Her identity erased. The board voted her out unanimously. Friends stopped returning calls. Her fiancé left a note on the kitchen counter. "I can't be seen with you anymore." The world moved on. She became invisible. Just another face in the shelter line. Another ghost in the city that once worshipped her. She slept on subway benches, ate from donation boxes, wore clothes that smelled like strangers. But Caroline wasn't broken. She was watching, learning, planning. It started on a Tuesday night. 8th Avenue. Rain hammering the pavement like bullets. Caroline sat outside the Belmont Towers, the luxury building where her ex-partner now lived. She wore 3 layers of donated coats. Her hair hung in wet tangles over her face. She looked like nothing, like no one. Exactly what she needed. A black car pulled up. Mercedes S-Class, custom plates. Out stepped Marcus Chen, her former partner, the man who stole her company. He wore a $10,000 suit, gold Rolex gleaming under the streetlight. He saw her. Their eyes met for half a second. No recognition. Just disgust. He smiled that cruel, satisfied smile she remembered from boardrooms. He pulled out his wallet, dropped a dollar bill at her feet. "Get yourself some coffee, lady. You look like you need it." His wife laughed from the car. Victoria Chen, former socialite, former friend, now living off Caroline's stolen fortune. "Marcus, don't encourage them. They never leave once you feed them. They multiply like rats." Her voice dripped with contempt, with certainty that she was better. They walked into the building. The doorman held the door. Gold-trimmed uniform. White gloves. He nodded respectfully at Marcus, didn't even glance at Caroline. The glass doors closed. Warm light inside, cold darkness outside. Caroline picked up the dollar. She didn't spend it, she kept it. Evidence, motivation, fuel. What they didn't know was this. 2 weeks earlier, Caroline had made contact with someone they'd all forgotten. Samuel Park, her old college roommate, now a federal prosecutor in the Southern District. He'd been investigating Marcus for 3 years. Money laundering through shell companies. Tax fraud spanning 7 countries. Samuel had the pattern. He had the timeline. What he didn't have was proof, hard evidence, digital fingerprints. Caroline had it, hidden in encrypted files she'd backed up years ago. Standard protocol. She never trusted Marcus completely. Now she knew why. But she needed more than evidence. She needed vindication. Public. Undeniable. She needed them to see her rise from the ashes they created. So she made a deal with Samuel. Give her 3 months. Let her rebuild in silence. Let her become invisible. Then she'd testify. Give him everything. Samuel hesitated. "That's not protocol, Caroline. We should move now." She looked at him. Really looked. Her eyes still had that fire. That iron will that built companies. 3 months, Sam. I need them to forget I exist. Then I'll remind them who I am. He saw something in her face, something dangerous and precise. He agreed. because he knew Caroline Westfield never made empty promises. She started small, a job at a downtown accounting firm, not as an executive, as a junior analyst, minimum wage, $8 an hour. She used a false name, Margaret Stone. Nobody recognized her. The transformation was complete. Expensive salon hair gone, replaced by a home dye job. Designer wardrobe replaced with thrift store polyester. She rode the subway, $8 pizza, lived in a studio apartment in Queens with water stains on the ceiling. She became a shadow. But at night, she worked. On her laptop in the public library, corner desk under flickering fluorescent lights, rebuilding her network, calling in old favors from offshore partners who knew the truth, men and women who'd made billions with her guidance, who remembered. Slowly, quietly, money began to move. Not into her name, into shell companies, limited liability trusts, accounts Marcus would never trace, because she'd taught him everything he knew and kept the best tricks to herself. Wire transfers from Singapore, Hong Kong, the Caymans. 3 weeks in, she had $2 million. Untraceable. Liquid. Ready. She used it to buy something specific. The mortgage on Belmont Towers. The building where Marcus and Victoria lived. Where 12 other families who'd mocked her also resided. The bank was desperate to sell. Underwater loan. Maintenance issues. She paid cash through an LLC registered in Delaware. 3 layers deep. Lawyers who'd never met her. Signatures done remotely. The bank didn't care. They got their money. She got the deed. 42 units. $8 million in annual rent. But this wasn't about profit. This was about power. And she wasn't done yet. Because this was never just about one building. This was about exposing the rot. About showing the world what Marcus really was. About taking back everything he stole, piece by piece, until he had nothing left but the truth. Do you believe redemption can come disguised as revenge? Can justice wear the mask of cruelty? Can mercy and vengeance live in the same heart? Remember that question. Because what happens next will test everything you think you know about right and wrong. The first sign came on a Friday morning. Notices appeared under every door in Belmont Towers. Official letterhead, legal language. Building ownership transferred. New management effective immediately. Rent increasing 30% in 60 days. Maintenance fees doubling. Terms non-negotiable. The residents panicked. They'd lived there for years. Some had rent-controlled leases. Some had verbal promises from the old owner. None of it mattered now. The new owner had rights. Legal, unbreakable, cold. They gathered in the lobby, shouted at the doorman. He shrugged. I just work here. Marcus called his lawyer. Real estate specialist. $200 an hour. Who bought the building? The lawyer spent 2 days digging. Came back frustrated. An offshore entity, registered in Delaware. Owned by another trust in the Caymans. Whoever they are, they know what they're doing. Professional level concealment. Marcus felt the first whisper of unease. A cold finger down his spine. But he pushed it down. He'd made too many enemies to count. Investors he'd cheated. Partners he'd betrayed. Could be anyone. Probably some Russian money. A Chinese investment group. He convinced himself it was random. Business. Not personal. But it was personal. Because Caroline wasn't done. She attended the building meeting. As Margaret Stone, the quiet analyst who lived in the adjacent building. Borrowed clothes, cheap glasses, notepad in hand. She sat in the back row. Watched them argue. Watched fear spread like infection. Marcus stood up. Arrogant as ever. Designer suit. Confidence built on lies. We have rights, he shouted. We'll organize. We'll sue. We'll fight this. I know people. I have lawyers. Whoever bought this building doesn't know who they're dealing with. The property manager, hired by Caroline's LLC, smiled. Professional, detached. You're welcome to pursue legal action, but your leases expire in 3 months, and the owner has made it very clear, no renewals, no exceptions. You'll need to vacate or pay the new rates. The room erupted. Families with children, elderly couples who'd lived there 20 years, young professionals who'd saved for years to afford this address, all facing eviction, all suddenly vulnerable. Caroline watched from the back, felt the weight of what she was doing, felt nothing, and everything. And these people had watched her suffer, had laughed when Marcus dropped that dollar, had turned away when she slept on their doorstep, had whispered about her fall with satisfaction. Now they'd learn what falling felt like. Now they'd understand that comfort is fragile, that safety is an illusion. But then something unexpected happened. A woman stood up. Young, Latina, tired eyes, Jessica Morgan, single mother, 2 kids. She'd lived in the building for 8 years, worked double shifts as a nurse. "Please," she said, voice shaking but steady. "I work 2 jobs. I can't afford to move. My daughter's in school here. She has friends, stability. This is her home." Jessica's voice cracked. "Please, whoever owns this building, if you're listening, if you have any humanity, have mercy. We're not rich. We're just trying to survive." Caroline felt it. A crack in the armor she'd built. A fissure in the ice. She remembered Jessica. 6 months ago, outside this same building, Caroline had been sitting on the steps, shaking from cold. Jessica had walked past, then stopped, turned back, offered her a sandwich, a bottle of water. While others looked away, Jessica had seen her, helped without judgment, without hesitation. Caroline hadn't forgotten, would never forget. She made a note on her phone. Apartment 4B, protected. Jessica wouldn't suffer. The others would pay. But not her. Never her. Over the next week, Caroline tightened the screws. Maintenance requests ignored. Heating reduced by 3 degrees. Water pressure dropped. Elevators broke down twice. Small things. Legal things. Nothing the city could cite her for. But things that made life uncomfortable. Things that sent a message. The residents complained. Called the management office. Got voicemail. Sent emails. Got automated responses. The property manager shrugged when confronted. "Take it up with the owner. I just implement policy." But the owner remained anonymous. Invisible. A ghost with a legal team. Marcus grew paranoid. Started drinking at lunch. Vodka in his coffee. He hired a private investigator. Ex-cop. Specialized in corporate espionage. "Find out who owns this building. I don't care what it costs. I need to know who I'm dealing with." The investigator worked for 3 weeks. Burned through $20,000. Came back with nothing. Whoever they are, they're a ghost. I've seen government operations with less security. Multiple shell companies, offshore accounts, encrypted communications. This person knows how to disappear. Marcus felt the walls closing in. Started seeing patterns, the timing, the precision, the cruelty. This wasn't random. This was targeted. Someone who knew him. Someone who wanted him to suffer. He made a list of enemies. Filled 3 pages. Still couldn't narrow it down. Victoria noticed the change. Her husband drinking. Obsessing. Waking up at 3 a.m. to check security cameras. "You're scaring me," she said one night. He stared out the window at the city. "Someone's coming for us. I can feel it. I just don't know who." Then Caroline made her second move. She used her connections to leak information. Anonymous tips to the city. Building code violations. Fire safety issues. Outdated electrical systems. Asbestos in the basement. All minor. All fixable. But all expensive. And all true. The city sent inspectors. They found everything Caroline had reported. Belmont Towers was hit with $300,000 in mandatory repairs, due in 90 days, or the building would be declared uninhabitable. The residents would have to leave anyway. Marcus realized the trap. This was never about money. The residents organized, hired a lawyer, sent letters to the mysterious owner. Calls went to automated systems. Emails bounced back. The property manager claimed she'd never met the owner. I receive instructions by encrypted email. Payment comes through wire transfer. That's all I know. The building became a prison. Expensive, uncomfortable, inescapable. People stopped making eye contact in the hallways. Everyone blamed everyone. Some families started packing, accepting defeat. Marcus refused. He would find out who was doing this. He would fight. He always won. But the storm was still ahead. Because Caroline wasn't just targeting a building. She was dismantling a lie, exposing a fraud that had fooled everyone, doing it with surgical precision, the kind you only learn from falling, from losing everything, from rebuilding in silence. She made her next move. She contacted Samuel Park. Encrypted phone. Secure line. I'm ready to testify, but I want to do it publicly. I want a press conference. I want cameras. I want the world to watch him fall the way they watched me fall. Samuel hesitated. That's not how we usually do this, Caroline. We prefer quiet arrests, controlled environments, less media circus. His voice was careful, worried. Caroline's voice went cold, steel wrapped in silk. I don't care how you usually do it. I lost everything publicly. I'll take it back publicly. They need to see me. They need to know I survived, that I won, that the truth matters. She paused. This is my one condition, Sam. Take it or I walk. Samuel understood. He'd seen what they'd done to her, how the media had crucified her, how Marcus had played victim while stealing millions. All right, he said finally. I'll arrange it, but we do it my way. Controlled statements. No questions until after the arrest. We protect the case. Caroline smiled in her tiny apartment. Rain on the window. City lights below. Deal. 1 week from Monday. Federal courthouse. 10 a.m. The press conference was scheduled. The media was told only this. Major fraud case. High-profile defendant. Financial crimes spanning multiple jurisdictions. They came in droves. Every major network. Financial reporters. Crime correspondents. The courtroom was packed. Standing room only. Marcus was there. His lawyer had received a subpoena. Material witness in a federal investigation. They'd refused to give details. Marcus sat in the front row, confident. He thought this was about someone else. Another investor he'd cheated. Another partner he'd betrayed. He had no idea. Then Caroline walked in. Not as Margaret Stone, as herself. Hair professionally styled, navy suit, tailored, elegant. The same power she'd always carried, but refined, sharpened, forged in fire. The room went silent. You could hear breathing, heartbeats. Cameras flashed, reporters gasped. One dropped his notebook. Marcus turned white. Actually white. Like the blood draining from his face. Like a ghost seeing another ghost. Victoria grabbed his arm, nails digging in. That's impossible, Marcus whispered. She's homeless. She's broken. She's nothing. His voice cracked on the last word. Caroline heard him, across the room, through the silence. She looked directly at him. Their eyes met, held. She smiled, small, controlled, devastating. Not anymore, Marcus, not even close. Her voice carried, clear, strong, unbreakable. The room felt it, the shift, the power changing hands. Samuel stood at the podium. Federal seal behind him. 6 months ago, Caroline Westfield was accused of embezzling $40 million from Meridian Capital. Today, we're here to announce those charges were false. Completely fabricated, Ms. Westfield was framed. He let that word hang in the air. Framed. The reporters leaned forward. Framed by her business partner, Marcus Chen, who used her access codes, her passwords, her digital signature to steal company funds and transfer them to offshore accounts in the Cayman Islands, Singapore, and Switzerland. The room exploded. Questions shouted over each other. Cameras swarmed. Marcus tried to stand. His lawyer pulled him down. Federal agents moved in. 4 of them. Dark suits. Earpieces. Marcus Chen, you're under arrest for wire fraud, money laundering, tax evasion, and criminal conspiracy. They cuffed him. Right there, in front of 300 people. Cameras caught everything. The shock on his face. The confusion. The terror. Victoria screamed, mascara running. This is a mistake. He didn't do anything. Tell them. But Marcus said nothing, because he knew. It was over. Caroline stepped to the microphone. The room quieted instantly. Everyone wanted to hear this. The comeback. The resurrection. For 6 months, she began. I lived on the streets of Manhattan. I was spit on, mocked, forgotten. People I'd helped for years walked past me like I was invisible. Her voice was steady. No anger, no bitterness, just truth. I slept on subway benches. I ate from donation boxes. I learned what it means to have nothing. To be nothing in the eyes of people who value only money and status. I learned who I was without power. She paused. The silence was complete. And I learned something else. That justice doesn't wait for permission. It doesn't hope for mercy. It takes action. It builds evidence. It plans. And when the moment comes, it strikes with precision. Another pause. Cameras flashing. Recording. Broadcasting. 3 weeks ago, I bought Belmont Towers, the building where Marcus Chen lives, where the people who laughed at me live. I could have evicted them, made them suffer the way I suffered, given them a taste of what it means to lose everything. The room held its breath. But I won't, because I'm not him. I'm not any of them. I'm better. She looked directly at Marcus, being led away in handcuffs. I'm releasing the building to a non-profit organization that will maintain affordable housing. The families who live there will be protected. The room erupted in applause. Flash photography blinded her. She didn't blink. Except for one apartment. Apartment 4B, Jessica Morgan, single mother, 2 kids. She saw me when others didn't. She helped me when no one else would. Her rent is paid for 5 years. A scholarship fund is established for her children. Because kindness matters. Because one act of mercy can change everything. The applause grew louder. Caroline stepped back from the microphone. She'd said what she needed to say. The rest was silence. And in that silence, between her words and their reaction, she finally understood. Revenge wasn't about making them hurt. It was about showing them they were wrong. That cruelty was their weakness, not hers. That she could hold absolute power without crushing those beneath her. That mercy was the ultimate victory, the kind they'd never understand. After the press conference, Caroline met with the residents of Belmont Towers. She didn't have to. Her lawyers advised against it. But she wanted to look them in the eye, to see them see her. She stood in the lobby where she'd once slept, where the doorman had ignored her. They gathered slowly, confused, nervous. Some recognized her from the news. Some still didn't connect the dots. The woman in the navy suit and the homeless woman who'd sat on their steps. 2 different people. The same person. I'm the one who bought this building, she said. Silence, heavy, uncomfortable. I'm the one who raised your rent, who made your lives difficult, who scared you. She let them feel it, the betrayal, the anger. And I'm sorry, not for buying it, but for making you suffer when some of you didn't deserve it. More silence. Then Jessica Morgan stepped forward, tears already falling. You helped me when you had nothing, when I was struggling. You gave me that sandwich, that water. Her voice broke. You saw me when I felt invisible. Caroline nodded, voice soft. You saw me first, Jessica, when others didn't, when I was actually invisible. I never forgot. Jessica smiled through tears. What happens now? Caroline looked at all of them. Really looked. Saw the fear, the relief, the confusion. The building is being transferred to Second Chance Housing Initiative, a nonprofit I'm funding. They'll keep rents affordable, keep families together, invest in real maintenance, real community. She paused. This was never about money, but it was about something, about remembering what matters when you lose everything else. Marcus was sentenced to 18 years in federal prison. Victoria filed for divorce 2 weeks later, took what she could, disappeared to Europe. The courts returned Caroline's fortune, every dollar, plus damages, $470 million, more than she'd started with. She used half to create the Second Chance Foundation, housing for the homeless, job training programs, legal aid for people fighting false charges, free business consulting for people rebuilding after bankruptcy. She hired Jessica as director of operations, a salary that changed her entire life. The media called Caroline a hero. Time magazine cover, Forbes profile, TED Talk invitations. She hated that word, hero. I'm not a hero, she told reporters. I'm someone who fell, and someone who climbed back up, that's all. Anyone can do it if they refuse to stay down. But the world needed the story. Needed to believe that falling wasn't the end. That rock bottom had a door. That second chances were real if you fought for them. That the people who mock you today might need your mercy tomorrow. That strength isn't about never falling. It's about always rising. The media coverage lasted for weeks, then months. Her foundation grew, helped thousands. She appeared on podcasts, news programs, always the same message. Don't wait for permission to rebuild. Don't wait for apologies. Don't wait for justice to find you. Go take it. Legally, strategically, precisely. 6 months later, Caroline stood in her new office. Not a penthouse, not a corner suite. A modest space in downtown Manhattan. 10th floor, windows facing the street. She could see the people, the real people, the ones who worked and struggled and survived and fell and got back up. She'd been one of them. She'd lived in their world, slept in their shelters, eaten from their donation boxes. She'd seen what they saw, felt what they felt, and she'd never forget. The expensive suits didn't change that. The restored fortune didn't erase it. The fame didn't matter. Her assistant knocked. Young woman, bright, eager. Ms. Westfield, there's someone here to see you. She doesn't have an appointment, but she said it's important. Caroline looked up from her laptop. Who is she? An older woman stood in the doorway. 60s. Worn hands, nervous eyes, cheap coat. She looked like Caroline had looked 6 months ago, invisible, forgotten. I'm sorry to bother you, the woman said, but I saw you on the news, and I just wanted to say thank you. She stepped closer, hands shaking. My daughter is in your housing program. She lost everything in a divorce. Her ex-husband was a lawyer. He knew how to hide money, how to work the system. She ended up on the street with my grandson. Nowhere to go. The woman's voice cracked. Your program saved her life, gave her an apartment, helped her find work. My grandson is in school now, safe, happy, because of you. Tears streamed down her cheeks. You saved my family, and I just needed you to know. Caroline smiled, stood, walked over, took the woman's hands in hers. They were cold, rough, real. Your daughter saved herself, Caroline said gently. She had the strength to ask for help, to keep fighting, to refuse to give up. I just opened a door. She walked through it. The woman hugged her, tight, desperate, grateful. Caroline hugged her back, felt the weight of it, the responsibility, the privilege. When the woman left, Caroline stood at the window, watched the city, the lights coming on as dusk settled, the endless movement of people who all had stories. That night, Caroline went back to 8th Avenue, where it all began. She stood outside Belmont Towers. The building glowed warm against the dark sky. Families inside, safe, protected. She could see lights in the windows, could imagine dinners being made, children doing homework, people living normal lives. She thought about Marcus, about Victoria, about all the people who'd watched her fall and smiled. She didn't hate them anymore. Pity had replaced anger, because they'd never understand what she'd learned. That power without compassion is just noise. That wealth without purpose is just weight. That falling doesn't define you. Rising does. That the people who mock you in your weakness reveal their own. That second chances aren't given by the world. They're taken by people who refuse to stay broken, who refuse to let cruelty win, who choose to be better than those who hurt them. She pulled out her phone, found the photo of the dollar bill Marcus had given her. She'd kept it, framed it. It hung in her office now, behind her desk. A reminder, not of cruelty, but of fuel, of the exact moment she decided to rise, of the precise instant she chose herself over despair. She took a picture, posted it on social media with one line. They laughed at the homeless woman until she bought the building they lived in. Never confuse silence with surrender. Never mistake mercy for weakness. And never underestimate someone who has nothing left to lose. The post went viral within hours. Millions of views. Hundreds of thousands of shares. Comments flooded in. People shared their own stories, their own falls, their own comebacks, their own moments of deciding to rise. Caroline read them all, every single one, responded to dozens, because she knew now. Her story wasn't hers alone. It belonged to everyone who'd ever been counted out, everyone who'd ever been mocked, everyone who'd ever felt invisible, everyone who'd ever been told they were finished, everyone who'd ever refused to believe it, everyone who'd ever proved them wrong. And late that night, in her modest apartment in Queens, she hadn't moved to a penthouse, Caroline sat by the window, watched the rain, thought about everything, the fall, the climb. The moment she'd sat on those steps clutching a garbage bag while Marcus dropped that dollar. She'd been terrified that night, broken, lost. But somewhere in that darkness, she'd found something. Not revenge, not anger. Something deeper. The absolute certainty that she wasn't finished. That they didn't get to decide her ending. That her story was hers to write. And she'd write it in fire. If this story touched you, type 100 in the comments and tell me your country. Share this story with someone who still believes in second chances. Because we all fall. But only some of us rise. Be the one who rises. Be the one who remembers. Be the one who proves them wrong. Be the one who chooses mercy after learning cruelty. Be the one who knows that the fall is not the end. It's the beginning.